Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chris, aka Barnon11970. Thank you, as always, for watching my videos. All right, guys, it's been a while since I've made a gold and silver report. Pretty much the reason, there's two reasons. One, of a lot of the new information that I have discovered, I really felt and still do feel that that's the most important thing. Everything else is second nature to what's going on as far as our government is concerned. So I've made that a priority because all the other stuff is irrelevant if we can't fix the corrupt system. And without knowing what's really going on, knowledge is power, let's put it that way. So if you haven't checked out the videos I've made in the past month and a half, I really suggest you watch them and really learn what's going on. It's going to sound strange. It's going to sound bizarre. You may not agree with it or believe in it, but if you research, you'll see it's actually very accurate. So with that being said, I haven't made a real gold and silver report since September, and I'll post the link to the video I'm going to be speaking of now because the reason I haven't is because, like I said in the video, back in September 20th, I said that the gold and silver prices are going to stay pretty consistent, where they'll be probably, as far as silver is concerned, maybe about a dollar range up and down, and nothing's going to change until after the new year. And pretty much that's what's been happening. Silver has been staying stagnant between the lower to mid 20s to the lower to mid 19s. So it's pretty much stayed in that dollar range this whole time. The reason that I'm saying this is because I really think there's not going to be any significant changes until Janet Yellen takes over. I think really Ben Bernanke is cowering out, and he doesn't want to rock the boat while he's still got a couple of weeks left, or even a couple of months left since I made that previous video. I did say, watch, they're going to talk about tapering again, and you could see in the news that's what they're doing, and the markets react to this. They use this to their advantage because they have the insider trading, and if you know you can manipulate the public and they'll react a certain way, well, if you're an insider and you get this inside information, you'll know beforehand when to buy or when to sell something. So unfortunately, they take advantage of the average people out there who sit by that television or look at the stock market on the computer and react to whatever is being said. And they take advantage of this. So, with that being said, you can see so far I've been correct. And that's why you're seeing the decreases in gold and silver, but it hasn't been anything major because as soon as it drops about a dollar, people start buying it up again. And I'm, of course, talking about the physical gold and silver. Now, I've said it 1,000 times, and I'm sure I'll have to say it 1,000 times more. I am not buying gold and silver bullion to become financially wealthy. I'm not doing it to try and become rich and gambling. I'm doing it as a storage of wealth to protect against the potential of a devaluation of our currency. Now, I used to think about the fact that there would be some kind of collapse. Now, that can still happen, but even if it doesn't happen, you could see prices are getting higher and higher. And the reason for that is every time they print all this money in quantitative easing, it devalues the currency, which means you need more of it to make purchases. Now, I really think because of the Christmas holiday, they're really not going to want to affect people. It's usually afterwards or right in the middle of the holiday is when they start doing the changes. And of course, they start doing it first behind our backs because people are too busy being distracted. That's why things like the National Defense Authorization Act was done on New Year's Eve 2011, and even things like the Federal Reserve Act, that was right before Christmas when a lot of the politicians that probably would have voted against it were on vacation with their families. So people have been talking about them saying that they will taper. I'm a firm believer. I've said in that video, and again, I'll post the link below in the description box so you can check it out for yourself. I said they will do one of two things. They will either just talk about it, or they might taper a little bit. I don't think they're going to taper because if they do, you're going to see interest rates spike, and within a week, less than a week, most likely, they would have to reverse that. So if anything, if they did taper, I think they would do it just to prove the fact that they can do it, to scare people, and you're going to see gold and silver plummet at that point. That is where I'm waiting to make a purchase. You know, I don't have thousands of dollars, so I can't make major purchases, but any little bit I can get will add to my protection for future problems. Because if you only worry about the present and you don't prepare for possibilities in the future, Well, that's the whole grasshopper and ant story. And if you don't know about that, I suggest you look up that story. So I am waiting to see what the Fed is going to do. And they're pretty predictable at this point. They throw curveballs every now and then, but I think that's to keep people on their toes. But I'm really feeling that nothing major is going to happen as far as the gold and silver market is concerned until after Janet Yellen takes office. And she's either going to continue talking about the possibility of tapering, or she might taper a little bit. But if she does, expect a huge turnaround very quickly, because as we saw when they just talked about tapering, how fast interest rates went up, and they will not be able to maintain. So they're basically, what they're doing, in my opinion, is if they do taper, it's a bluff. They can't keep it. So they're just trying to show that they can do it. But I honestly think they will talk about it more than they will actually do it. So that's my opinion. I'm waiting until after January, waiting to see if they even do try and taper. If you're a purchaser of gold and silver, that taper is going to be a godsend for you to be able to continue to stack your physical gold and silver. Like I said, guys, that's why I haven't done a video since then, because nothing has really changed, and so far I've been pretty much right on the money. Um, we'll see what happens starting next year, but I think it'll be an interesting time as far as um, seeing what they're going to be doing. Just keep in mind, when we have devaluation problems and currency problems, it affects us all. Unfortunately, the banks get away with it because most of the banks, like JP Morgan Chase and others, like Bank of America and others that are primary stockholders of the Federal Reserve, well, they take your money out of your bank account without you knowing about it, even though it's not really yours and it's not really money, and they gamble it on Wall Street. And when they win, they pocket the money and give themselves wonderful bonuses. When they lose, they borrow money from the very Federal Reserve that they are stockholders in, and they call it a bailout, which we, by the way, have to pay for. And they use most of that money again to give themselves bailouts. So it must be nice. That's like somebody giving you a credit card where you have unlimited amount of spending, and every time the bill comes, you hand the bill to your next door neighbor and they have to pay for it. That's how the system works. It's a wonderful Ponzi scheme that for some reason we allow to continue. So that's one of the reasons, other reasons why I also stack gold and silver, because every time I do that, it keeps them from being able to steal my wealth. So I don't keep my money in banks. I use a federal credit union, and I put as much money as I can, this fiat currency that has value only because it's promised. I put as much of it as I can afford into physical gold and silver. You may agree with it, you may not agree with it. I'm not here to tell anybody what to do. I'm just here to give the story of what I do, because there are people that obviously care enough to hear my opinion. So give it a thumbs up if you appreciate it. Share it if you want to give it to other people to learn what's really going on in this world. And you'll see on the bottom of the screen, there's going to be a link to one of my most popular videos about what's going on with this government. I suggest you watch it. It's a 49-minute video, very long. It may seem a little strange when you first see it if you've never seen these kind of videos before, but if you listen to the whole thing, it's really going to put things in a better perspective. So thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, and keep stacking. Peace.